The salary of an average NBA player is $7.7 million in 2020. However, in this video, we will not be talking about the average, but the best players in the league who make significantly more than $7.7 million a year. Here are the 15 highest paid NBA players in the 2020-2021 season. Number 15, Tobias Harris, $34.35 million. They say that luck happens when preparation meets opportunity, and that's precisely what happened with Tobias Harris, who scored a 5-year, $190 million max contract with the Sixers in 2019. You would think that maximum deals are reserved exclusively for the best players and the biggest stars in the NBA, but that is just not the case anymore. Don't get me wrong, Tobias Harris is a really good player without any glaring weaknesses, but he also won't win you multiple playoff games on his own, and he won't delight the crowd night in and night out. But he was in the right place at the right time. The Sixers invested heavily in Harris and Jimmy Butler at the 2019 trade deadline in an effort to win a championship that year. After they lost Butler for nothing, they couldn't afford to lose Harris as well, and they had to offer him a max deal. The preparation met the opportunity. Harris got lucky, and he'll earn over $34 million in 2021. Number 14, Jimmy Butler, $34.38 million. It's very rare that the player who was picked last in the first round of the draft will even stay in the league for more than 5 years, let alone sign 2 max contracts. But Jimmy Butler was one of those rare cases. To the much surprise of everyone in the NBA, Jimmy was an extremely limited player coming out of Marquette, but he proved to be one of the hardest workers in the NBA who improved in every facet of the game. After a max contract he signed with the Bulls in 2015, Butler autographed a $140 million 4-year deal with the Heat in 2019 and proved immediately that the money invested in him was well spent, leading Miami to the finals. Number 13, Kawhi Leonard, $34.38 million. Kawhi Leonard orchestrated one of the weirdest free agency decisions ever in 2019 after he brought the first NBA title to Toronto. He was courted by Drake, Masai Ujiri, and the Raptors, who wanted him to stay in Canada and try to repeat as champions. But Kawhi is from LA, and he wanted to return home, where both the Lakers and Clippers were fighting to secure his services. After a week of unprecedented stalling, he ultimately chose the Clippers, signing a 3-year deal which will pocket him $34 million this season. Number 12, Kemba Walker, $34.38 million. Because Kemba was named to an All-NBA team, he was eligible to sign a 5-year Supermax contract worth up to $221 million with the Hornets in the 2019 offseason. But Michael Jordan and the Hornets management weren't inclined to offer him that kind of cash. He reportedly got offered $160 million over 5 years, more than $40 million shy of the amount some other All-Star point guards have gotten. That's why Walker said thanks, but no thanks, and chose to sign a $140 million 4-year deal with the Celtics in order to contend for a title. Number 11, Mike Conley, $34.5 million. In a few years, an NBA pub quiz somewhere might ask this question: which NBA player never made an All-Star team but was once the highest paid player in league history? And the answer, of course, would be Mike Conley, who signed a 5-year, $153 million deal with the Grizzlies in 2016, which was the largest NBA contract ever at the time. Conley benefited from an unprecedented salary cap spike in 2016, which happened due to a $24 billion TV deal the NBA has signed in the same year. And because Conley was an all-time franchise leader in points and assists, and still in his prime, the Grizzlies unloaded the Brinks truck in front of his house. He's currently in the last year of his deal for the Jazz and will make $34.5 million in 2021. Number 10, Klay Thompson, $34.36 million. Klay Thompson is one half of the best shooting backcourt in basketball history, and it was not surprising that the Warriors awarded him the max contract, worth $190 million over 5 years. Although there were rumors about other teams, Klay has repeatedly spoken of his loyalty to Golden State. The Warriors also proved that they are a classy organization by offering him a max salary, even though it was common knowledge that he wouldn't be able to play in the first year of his new deal due to an ACL tear he suffered in Game 6 of the 2019 NBA Finals. Number 9, Paul George, $35.45 million. Paul George's name and character have been very meme-friendly during the latest NBA playoffs. Way Off P and Pandemic P gained a lot of traction as George's new nicknames, but it wasn't at all surprising that he has signed a new maximum deal with the Clippers. PG-13 is still a hell of a player, and he got a 4-year extension worth $190 million, starting with the 2021-22 season. George is still owed $35.45 million in 2021 from his last deal, which he signed with the Thunder in 2018. Number 8, Blake Griffin, $36.81 million. "We want you to be a Clipper for life," said the Clippers management and ownership in the 2017 offseason after they simulated Blake's jersey retirement under the rafters of the Staples Center. Other than the somewhat cringy fake ceremony, the Clippers also gave Griffin a 5-year, $173 million deal, which he gladly accepted, thinking indeed that he's going to be with the Clippers long term. 6 months later, he was traded to Detroit, who is now paying him almost $37 million a year. Number 7. Kevin Durant, $39.05 million. As an NBA GM, you usually don't give out max contracts for players who tore their Achilles 2 weeks prior to free agency. But you make an exception if it's Kevin Durant. KD famously tried to come back in Game 5 of the 2019 NBA Finals, which proved to be a mistake. His calf injury hasn't fully healed, and he suffered the worst leg injury for basketball players. Still, KD was arguably the best basketball player in the world at the time, and he was going to be offered the max contract from every team in the league. Durant chose to sign with the Nets, who will pay him $39 million this season, hoping he'll bring them their first NBA championship. Number 6. LeBron James, $39.22 million. LeBron James has been the best player in the NBA for a better part of his adult life, but he's been the highest paid player in the league only once. Despite taking some pay cuts to form a big three in Miami, the man known as the King is still paid like one. He will earn almost $40 million in 2021, and he just signed a lucrative 2-year extension that will keep him in LA until his oldest son is eligible to get drafted to the NBA. When that happens, LeBron will be officially the highest paid NBA player ever, with over $430 million in salary earnings. Number 5. James Harden, $41.25 million. James Harden is a basketball savant. He is an artist, and the way he dances with the basketball and hits step-back threes hasn't been seen before. He's going to retire as one of the best scorers ever, and he's also going to retire as a very rich man. The Beard will earn north of $41 million this season, as part of the deal he negotiated with the Rockets in 2017. Number 4. John Wall, $41.25 million. John Wall has found his name on many worst contracts in the NBA list in recent years, to a little fault of his own. The 5-time All-Star has signed a Supermax deal with the Wizards in 2017, which was supposed to keep him in the nation's capital in the prime of his career. Unfortunately, the Supermax deal, which started in 2019, proved to be arguably the worst spent money in NBA history, considering Wall suffered an Achilles injury and hasn't suited up for the Wizards since December of 2018. Just when he was getting ready for a fresh start this season, he got traded to Houston, who will pay $41 million for his services, $44 million in the season after, and a whopping $47 million in 2023. Number 3. Chris Paul, $41.35 million. Many people, including myself, were surprised that Chris Paul had signed a deal that would pay him in excess of $44 million at the age of 37. But it would be unfair to say that CP3 didn't earn it, as he is still one of the best point guards in the league, and he still keeps reminding us why they call him the point god. Paul will earn $41.35 million with the Suns this season and has a player option for next year and the aforementioned $44 million, which I'm pretty sure he will pick up. Number 2. Russell Westbrook, $41.35 million. Life was pretty peachy for OKC in 2012. They had the best young core in the league, and many believed they would become the next NBA dynasty and win multiple championships. And then they traded James Harden and lost Kevin Durant in free agency. From 3 All-Stars, the Thunder were left with only one, and they decided to splash Russell Westbrook with millions of dollars so he'd stay in Oklahoma. The Supermax contract was designed to give small market teams like the Thunder a fighting chance to retain superstars and offer them more money, and Westbrook was the beneficiary of such a deal. In 2017, he signed a 5-year, $205 million Supermax running from 2018-19 through 2022-23 and will earn $41.35 million this season as a member of the Wizards. Number 1. Stephen Curry, $43 million. For the 4th year in a row, the highest paid NBA player is Wardell Stephen Curry. This is a result of a Supermax contract Curry signed in 2017 after his 2nd title with the Warriors. Curry signed the first Supermax deal in NBA history, and his contract was the first to exceed $200 million in total value. Steph is in the 4th year of his deal, which will pay him $43 million in 2021, making him one of the best paid athletes in the world. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe as we put out videos like these every day. Let us know what you thought about this video in the comments and what would you like us to do next.